Hey guys, welcome back everybody. So what we have covered in the last 2-3 weeks, right? Let me recap it. Okay, I'm not gonna like explain the topics. I'm just gonna tell you what topics we have covered, right? So major topics, not the smallest one topic. We have covered the networking devices, right? We have seen the what is the purpose of networking. We have covered the networking devices. We have seen that how what is switches and how does switch learn the MAC addresses, right? So basically MAC address table. That's major topic. We have seen that 300 second is the MAC address aging time. You can change it, right, based on the requirement, and you can change based on the VLAN too, right? So each VLAN has can be right. Each VLAN can be a different MAC address aging time as well. Let me mute every. I'm so sorry, I was on mute. Hey guys, I'm so sorry, I was on mute talking about. So MAC address table, we have seen that. Okay, and then after that, we have seen the VLAN concept. In a VLAN, we have seen how to create the VLAN. We have seen the most important concept like a access port and trunk port. We have seen that. Like, what's the major difference is that? What is the use of switch port mode access command? We have seen that how you can enable and disable the DTP protocol, which is by default enable. If you want to disable it, you can disable, right? It's based on the requirement. So if you're not disable on the access port, you just need to make that particular interface as the access port. Once you make that particular interface as the access port, the DTP will be disabled, and that's prevent the DTP attack. On a trunk port, if you want to disable the DTP, you just need to put the command switch port no negotiate. Then after that, we have seen that static trunk as well. Like, so there is a two ways to form the trunk. One we can also manual, and second is called as the dynamic way. Dynamic way is known as the DTP protocol. Then after that, we have seen the concept of the VLAN. So what is VLAN? VLAN trunking virtual LAN local area network. Then we have seen the concept of the VTP protocol. How does VTP provide the centralized management? So you are on the single switch and you can create the multiples VLANs everywhere. So that's how the VTP works. So we have seen that the mode on the VTP, like a server mode, we have seen that. We have seen the transparent mode. We have seen the off mode. We have seen the what we call client mode. The default mode is a VTP has a server in a version 1 and version 2. So there is a not major difference in the version and version 2. The default is a version 1. Okay. And the version 2, we are looking for that because of, what we call token ring, right? So if you have a token ring VLANs, then you can go with the version 2. Then version major difference is the version 1, 2, or 3. We can call it the version 3 does support the extended range of VLAN, which is beyond the 1006, right? So normally, just sorry guys, we made. So we have seen that DTP, how you can disable the DTP, right? What was the last I said point? Yeah, so the transparent mode and the default extended is VLAN, right? We're talking about. So you can create the extended range of VLAN in the VTP version 3, right? There is another major difference between the VTP version 2 and 3. We can call it like, for example, if you're going to implement the private VLAN or MSTP protocol, then this information can be distributed with the help of version 3, right? Then after that, we have seen that whatever the VTP message we have, right? If you guys remember that, in a VTP message, we have seen the concept of the summary advertisement, right? And then we have seen that subset advertisement, right? Then we have seen the advertisement request. And then we have seen that join, or we can call as a pruning packet. So basically, this is the same packet, only the message code is a different. That's all. So we have covered this point, right? So now all these things that we have discussed, right? Majorly, it's only gonna manage the VLAN. Manage the VLAN in the sense you're gonna create the VLAN, you're gonna change the name. If you're not change the state of the VLAN, that's how you can do with the help of these kind of configuration. It means that, try to understand the meaning right now. It means that you can only create the network. That's all. You can only create the network. That's all. That's the meaning of creating a management of the VLAN. But how about the security now? Security in the sense, for example, right now, try to understand this concept. We have a switch 1 right now, take example, and we have a multiple PCs, PC1, PC2 right now, the PC3, the PC4, right? The PC5 we have, the PC6 we have. They are on the same switch right now. Let me write on the name of this guy, PC1, PC2, PC3, PC4, PC5, and PC6. 1.1, this IP address, 1.2, this IP address, 1.3, this IP address, 1.4, this IP address, 1.5, and 1.6, right? The MAC address is A, the MAC address is B, the MAC address C, the MAC address D, the MAC address E, and the MAC address is of F right now. Right now, they all are part of the same VLAN right now, which is by default, the VLAN number 1 is per gen, right? Right now, all the interfaces, right? Whatever you can see that over there, all the interfaces are the part of the VLAN number 1. And that's why, right, the PC1 can communicate with the PC6 and even the PC4 as well. So if I'm going to generate any broadcast traffic, right, if I'm going to generate any broadcast traffic from this guy, PC number 1, it will be listened by the PC2, PC3, PC4, PC5, and PC6, right? But I don't want to make a, like, listening to the everybody. What I want to reduce this broadcast domain. So what you can do that, what we have learned, we just did the VLAN, right? With the help of VLAN, we can reduce the broadcast domain. I can say that, let me do the one thing. I'll make a one domain over there. Between this guy to this guy, this is the one domain. And between this guy to this guy, there are another domain. And to identify this logical domain, we can give the any identifier. And that identifier is not a VLAN number. So I can give this guy's a VLAN number 10 and this guy's a VLAN number 20. Perfect now. It means that now try to understand, if I'm going to generate any broadcast traffic, right? If I'm going to generate any broadcast traffic from the PC number 1, it will be listened by the PC2 and PC3. It will not listen by the PC4, PC5, not PC6. If the PC4 is going to generate the any broadcast traffic, it will be listened by the PC5 and PC6. That's how the VLAN works. We reduce the broadcast domain and improve the security. But now what? Try to understand, in the same VLAN, within the VLAN, you can call as a VLAN number 10, within the same VLAN, right? I want to block the traffic, right? I want to block the traffic between the PC1 to the PC2. It means that I don't want the PC1 can communicate with the PC2. Now, what reason behind it? So there is example. Yeah, hello.
Sir, I have one question, sir.
Yeah.
When you block the PC1 and PC2, these are the one VLAN and different VLAN, sir.
Can you see that? It's the same VLAN.
In the VLAN 10, ABC PC is include, sir.
Yeah, all the PC. Can you see? You just came late, right? You just arrived right
Yes,
now.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
After 2 minutes, sir. There was some network issue, sir.
Yeah, be on the time, right? So this is the one logical domain. You can see that over here. That's a VLAN number 10. This
Yes,
is
sir.
another logical domain. This is a VLAN number 20 right now.
Yes, sir.
So in the same VLAN, right now what happened, the PC1 can communicate with the PC2 and PC3. In the VLAN number 20,
Okay.
the PC4 can communicate with the PC5 and PC6. Between the VLAN, no communication is happening. That's, we have learned that.
Okay.
Okay.
I understood, sir.
Okay. So guys, what I'm trying to say that in the same VLAN, I want to improve the security. What security I want to improve? The PC1 should not communicate with the PC2. By default, it's not possible. By default, it's not possible. But what I want, it should not be communicated. What's the reason behind it? Take example, an online exam. Normally in the online exam, what happened, right? What I want, the user 1 should not communicate with the user 2, and user 2 should not communicate with the user 3, right? Normally they are the part of the same VLAN, but I want the user 1 should not communicate with the user 2, and user 2 should not communicate with the user 3, because if the person is giving the online exam, they only communicate with the server, that's all. PC2 only communicate with the server, that's all. PC3 only communicate with the server, that's all. Between the user, no communication should happen. That's a one example, the online exam. Second thing, what I can do that. Second, I can tell you, take example, there's instead of a PC, right? I can make this guy a server now. This is the server now. So what I want, the PC to PC should be no communicate. PC to PC, no communication, or we can say the user to user, no communication, but all the PC can communicate with the server. All the PC can communicate with the server. So there should be no communication between the user to user, but this user can send the traffic or can access the data from this server. Normally, it's not possible by default within the same VLAN. Normally, it's not possible by default within the same VLAN, but you can utilize, you can leverage this feature with the help of VLAN security. So there is a mini security in the VLAN. The first one that I'm going to talk about, that's called as a protected port. The first feature of the VLAN security is called the protected port. By default, all ports of the switches, by default, all ports of the switches is unprotected. All the switch ports are unprotected. That's a default behavior. That's our default behavior. By default, all the switch ports are unprotected. Right? Within the unprotected port, what happened? The communication will be allowed. It means that unprotected port, right? To the unprotected port, the communication will be possible. Communication will be there. That's a default behavior. What I can do that if I want to achieve this scenario, right? That user can communicate with the server and user can communicate with the server, but there should be no communication between the user, right? What I can do that I'll simply convert this port, which is unprotected by default right now. I can convert this port as a protected now. This thing you have to do the manual configuration. You have to go under the interface. So the network engineer will first log into this particular box. Once they have login, they need to jump in the config terminal mode. Under the config terminal mode, what they have to do under the interface, they just need to change the port to the protected. Protected means what? Now it's a secure. Protected means what? Now it's a secure. So protected port to the protected port, there should be no communication. I'm so sorry, what happened? Mhm. 1 minute. Yeah. Protected port to the protected port, there should be no communication. But protected port to the unprotected port, there should be communication. So simply what I can do that, if you see the server that I have, right, on the 0/1 port, I can make this interface as a what? It should be the unprotected. If I'm going to make this guy's port as unprotected, it means that what? The PC2, right, that's a protected port. They can communicate to the this guy. Again, the PC3, that's this port, they can communicate with the this guy. But there should be no communication between the protected to protected. That's how you can leverage this feature. And within the VLAN, you can provide the security. Within the VLAN, you can filter the traffic. Let me show you this practical, then you will understand more clearly. Meantime, if you have any question, you can feel free to ask me, guys. So let me put this guy into this one block. So I have yeah, here we have lab, and let me change the putty size because the put is little enough right now. Okay, 9 is fine. Okay, session, default setting and save it. And here we have this guy. So you can assume that the router one is a server. Let me change this icon. Okay, how I can do that? How do I change the icon? I can go in the manage, right? Laboratories. Hold on, guys. Let me change this icon. Okay, go down. So router one, I can change this guy to the server. That's perfect. That's perfect, right? Switch one, switch two, and start these devices. So basically, This is the router. I just changed the icon over there, nothing else. So let me take a console of this router 1, router 2, router 3, switch 1, switch 2, router 4. I think so. All the user has a IP address is 101, 102, 103. Look like this one. So router 1 has IP address would be 101. Let me check it. It's 1, right? Beautiful command exclude unassigned. So days by days, when you go to like familiar with the command line, so I will use the shortcut keyword. So that will help you in the troubleshooting. So normally in the production network, what happened? You have 100 plus or 50 plus interfaces, right? So you just want to look for the whatever the interfaces that has IP address, then you can do that as command. So this person is called as a section. Sorry, this person is called as a pipe, right? And exclude it. Exclude what I'm gonna exclude it. I'm gonna exclude the unassigned interface. So only the assigned interface will be available over here. So that's the router 1. That's the router 1. If you go with the router number 2 right now, I already took the console. Okay, yeah, I already have it. So if you check the router number 2, so IP interface brief. Exclude unassigned. That's the 1 to 2 right now. Router 3. So IP interface brief, exclude unassigned. One of 3, right? I haven't put exclude unassigned. So if I'm gonna ping from 1 to 1 to 1 from the router 3, I can ping the server right now. If I'm gonna ping the 1 to 2 from the router 3, I can ping the 1 to 2 as well. Right? If you go in the switch right now, switch 1, and if you see this guys, so VLAN brief, I just have a VLAN number 1, and by default, all the interfaces are the part of the VLAN number 1 right now. All the interface, right? And if you look for the status of the protected port, so interface, source interface ETH0/1 switch port, right? Put the command, just go on the downside, you will see the protected is false. False means what? It's a disable. Hey, did I mention the enable somewhere? Yeah, that's unprotected. Yeah, these are disabled. Right? Even if you go with the 0/2 right now, there are 2, it's a disable. And even if you go with the 0/3, it's also disabled. What shortcut keyword you can use it for this one? You can just put the section include protected. P should be the capital. The P should be capital. Same way you can just go with the 0/1 and 0/2. All they are the false right now. It means that unprotected they are. What I can do that I simply go on the switch 1. Simple command. You just need to go on the switch 1 and say that word. I want the router 2 and router 3. The user 1, user 2, and user 3 should not communicate to each other, right? That's my requirement. This guy, this is the user number 2, the user number 3. This should not be able to communicate, but they can communicate with the server. They can communicate with the server easily. So I just am gonna make this guy as a protected and protected. I'm gonna convert this guy as a protected, and this should be the unprotected. Now, let me go to the switch 1. Interface. Simply, you can use the range keyboard man in just last 2 and 3 and switch port unprotected. Sorry, protected. Come on. Done. Same command, 0/2 and 0/3 and 0/1. See the output. 0/2 is a protected, true. 3 is also protected, true. 0/1 is not a protected. Now, if I'm going to send the traffic from the R3, the same person, right? 1 or 2, no communication. Because the protected and protected, there should be no communication. But how about the unprotected? if I'm gonna ping to the 1-to-1, if the user is trying to access the server, because normally the user, when the user will take an exam, they are gonna access the server, right? So server is accessible. Even from the 1 to router 2, if I'm gonna send the traffic to the 1-to-1, I can. But 1-to-3, I should not. And that's how the protected works. One more thing over here, guys. These are local to the router. The ports are, guys, let me write down over here because I can share this notes to you guys. Ports are local to the switch. That's a very important line. Ports are local to the switch. It means that, try to understand, this guy, right? This person is what? This is right now unprotected, right? This is right now unprotected. If I'm gonna make this guy as a protected, take example. If I'm gonna make this guy as a protected right now, if you see, go on the switch to and look for this guy. Let me show you the first IP address on the router 4. Enable, so what we call, so interface 0/1 switch port include oh, my bad, I was looking at the router. So IP interface brief, it's wonderful right now. And if you go with the switch 2 right now, the interface 0/1. So interface is 0/1 switch port include, well, what I can include as the protected. It's a false right now. Let's enable it. I said the interface 0/1 switch port protected. And that's it. Now what? Now if I'm gonna make a communication, let's have a look. If I'm going to ping 1-to-1-to-1-2 right now, right? According to theory that we have learned, it should not be communicated, right? It should not be communicated because protected and protected, no communication. But protected to unprotected, there should be the communication. So if I'm gonna make a ping from the router 4 to router 2, it should not be ping, right? But I just mentioned that ports are local to the switch. Ports are local to the switch, so there will be no issue because switch 2 has just said that, hey, this interface is protected. Switch 2 hasn't informed to the switch 1, hey, this interface is protected, because these are the local to the switches. Ports are local to the switches. So this feature is limited to the, right? This feature is limited to the single switch. It's not go to the remote switches. So if you are implementing this feature, make sure that your all users are sitting on the single switch. Guys, questions?
Will it work only intranet or it will work on different locations if there is intranet?
Intranet in the sense of what your internet has
Intranet, like within the organization, if we have a different sites, like
you are
we
talking
have
the same
it's
VLAN. I just mentioned that it's a local to the ports are local to the switch.
okay, it's within the ports, right?
Within the switches. It's not go
Within
beyond the
the
switches.
switches. No, actually, for this instance, we are running MPLS, okay?
So that's
So
something,
it can
guys. So take
communicate.
example,
Yes,
you're running
yes,
the
yes, yes.
MPLS, you are running the MPLS on this side, right? Customer A,
Yes, yes, yes,
the
yes,
Delhi
yes, right.
location, and the customer
Yes,
Mumbai in the Bangalore location, Mumbai location, right? But the ports
yes,
are
two
local to the
locations.
interface, right?
Yes, exactly. That's
So
my
you cannot
question.
go another switches over there.
Okay, that's it. It will work within one
Yeah, that's
network.
a local to the feature, right? Local to the switch.
Okay.
Okay, so local to that switch, that
Only.
one particular switch hardware, it
Right.
won't even translate over, let's say, if
Switch 2.
the switch to Ethernet 1 is part of the same VLAN as R2 and R3, it still wouldn't matter, right?
It doesn't matter.
It's,
That's why
yeah,
I mentioned that.
right.
I just make this guy as a protected port right now, but still we can communicate it.
Right. Okay. So it's all, it's whatever protected
Local to the
switch
switch.
features are, they are located, they are restricted to the local ports on that particular switch and the intercommunication between the ports on that particular switch only. Okay,
Only
got it.
that. Ports are local. Ports are what? It's a hardware, right?
Right, right.
It's a local to the switch only. You cannot share this. Hey, I have a these port information, and he cannot say that. Hey, I have a these ports information on the protected. You cannot say that. Understood?
Got
We
it,
are not
got it.
binding to the
Thank
any MAC addresses or not the IP addresses. Are they routers or PC? Sorry, I just missed that bit. Yeah, Nasi, I think so. You just joined, right? Yeah, these are just a router, not the PCs. All done? Good.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Now, this is the problem. Again, this is not a new technology. Okay, it's a very older technology. In a switching, what we are learning, okay, all are the 90s technology. Okay, so don't confuse. This is a new technology that I'm going to teach you. These things are not present in the in your book. So make a note of this thing. Now, to
Yeah,
avoid
because
this
never heard of that before. So
okay, so to avoid this problem, the local to such behavior, right? What we have introduced the feature, right? We have introduced the feature is called as a waggle. Now, before I'm going to start the waggle, I have one story for you guys. The reason is being because in a waggle, lots of things are coming. Okay, so take example. This is video. So I just gave the video, I just gave the video the $2,000. Okay. And I just said the video, hey, just go to the market in the shopping mall and buy some 10 clothes. Okay. I said this, make it 10 t-shirt. I just say that I just go in the market and just purchase the 10 t-shirt. So he came to the shopping mall and what he found out over there, there's a 2,000 plus, right, t-shirts are present in the shopping mall. Guys, please pay attention. You really need to understand this story right now to understand the matter. So I gave the $2,000 to the video. I said the video, hey, just go to the shopping mall and buy the 10 t-shirt. Okay. He went to the shopping mall. What he's doing now, he found that there's a 2,000 plus t-shirts in the shopping mall. So the video is the living things, right? Why I'm saying the living things? Because your router switches is non-living things. Okay, so he's the living thing. He can identify, okay, this t-shirt looks good on me. Okay, this is the awesome, and that one is a bad one. Okay, I don't want to go for that t-shirt. I like to go with this t-shirts. They have an idea. They can easily select this t-shirt. So what he's doing that, the first thing, he's making a choosing, or we can say the selection. He's identifying this t-shirt looks good on me, right? Once they have selected the t-shirt, what happened? After selecting the t-shirt, he reached to the billing counter. So there's a billing guy over there. So when he reached to the video is reached to the billing counter, this guy is saying, hey, you know one thing? The price is coming in the $2,200. And we are Indians. We are very good in the bargaining. So what Bedu is saying to this guy, hey, I just have a $2,000, please give me the $2,000 because I don't have money for that one. And I cannot go with the 9 t-shirt because my manager has said that you have to purchase the 10 t-shirt. Second thing, what he's doing that now. Again, he's the living things. He is doing the bargaining right now. Bargaining is what? Modifying the price. Guys, please pay attention. This story will help you in the routing as well. Once we have done the third part, what happened? Now, the third part is what? Once the modification has done, he's ready to give all the t-shirt in the $2,000. Now he's going to pack all these things and give it to this guy. Now the third part is the delivery. The moral of this story is what? Biru is a living thing. He has an idea, right? Which t-shirt looks good on me. He knows, right? Which one is the better, which one is the bad. But how about the switch now? How does this is the switch, right? Same example go with the router as well as, right? How does the switch and router, even if you go with the firewall or anything, right? I'm telling you anything, even if you go with the firewall, ICE, whatever the learning devices comes in the future in network, whatever I'm talking about, switches, router, firewall, these are the non-living things. How these guys are going to identify, okay, this PC is a wonder one. Take example, this PC is a wonder 2, and this PC is a wonder 3. How does this switches is going to identify, okay, the PC1 should not communicate with the PC2 and PC2 should not communicate with the PC3? Based on the protected word, what I did in the protected word, we just mentioned that this interface is a protected and that interface is not protected. But how about the switches now? Because now we are not going to doing the filtering based on the hardware, or hardware in the sense of what, based on the interface. Now we are doing the filtering based on the what, IP addresses. How does the switch is going to identify this should not communicate with this guy? How does the switch going to make a selection? Because he's non-living things. So what happened? Here we have a network engineer. This network engineer will give the command to the switch. Switch only understand what? Switch only understand the command line, CLI. So in a command line in the CLI, the first thing we have is called as a access list. Based on the access list, right? He is the first person, right? Choose the or selection of the t-shirt. Based on the access list, we are going to identify this IP should not communicate with the that IP, and that IP should not communicate with the that particular IP. So I can see that, hey, 1.1.1, I'm just going to give the command this with the help of ACL. The network engineer with the help of ACL will give the command to the switch, hey, 1.1.1 should not communicate with the 1.1.2. But 1.1.1, this is the statement that I'm going to create with the help of ACL. Should communicate with the 1.1.3. That's going to make a selection. So whenever the selection comes in the picture, any time, again, I'm repeating, don't worry about that ACL right now. We are going to discuss the ACL in a very depth way. Don't worry about that. I'm just giving you the overview right now because I need to finish this topic, vehicle. Okay. So please pay attention. So access list is what? It's just going to make a selection of the particular IP addresses. Now, after that, what? Okay, I have done the selection. The second part is what? I have to modify. Modify is in the sense of what? Let me give you example of the modification. So take example, this is my router number 1. This is my router number 2, and this is my router number 3. So take example, to reach the internet right now. So there is a user is sitting over there. If the router 1, if the PC number 1 wants to go to the internet, so the best path is what? The best path is a router number 2. Understood this concept right now? This is the best one because this is the 10 gig link. This is the 2 gig link, right? This is the non-best one. But you do have an ability, right? You can change the path. You can change the path. That's called as a modification in the current path. So the current path is the best part. I want to change it. I want to make this guy, hey, I don't feel like this is the best one because there is a lots of flapping is happening. There's a fiber code over there. There's a lots of flapping is happening. I don't like it. This is the best one. I will go with this guy's the best one. You can change this thing with the help of what? In layer 3, we can call this guy as a route map. In a layer 2, we call this guy as a access map. The name suggests that, guys, please pay attention to the first name, the route, and the access. The first name itself is saying that this is for the layer 3, and second one is for the layer 2. Access port, remember? Second one is the layer 2. Someone message. Path means route. Yeah, path means route. Not the route, route. So second thing, what we are going to do that, After creating the access list to identify that, we are going to create the access map. With the help of access map, we are going to decide, right, this soup packet should be drop or forward. These are my basically action that I'm going to define in the access map. And third, that simply I'm going to deliver it, means apply it. That's how I'm going to do the VACL. The good thing about the VACL, right? You can do within the VLAN, you can do between the VLAN as well. So let me show you the first step, what I can do that. Let me show you the first topology that I have. Because one more thing, the VACL practical, you cannot achieve on every iOS version. I'm talking about like in the simulator way, right? So some EVNG iOS version does support the VACL, some of does not. I mean, so the output you will not, command is accepted, but output you will not get the prop. So one of the another reason, that's why I love to do the practical of the switching on the web IOU. So here we go back up. Again, some of the iOS, it's not all the iOS. Okay, that's great. Started my devices. Switch one, router one. Router three. Don't worry about that, guys. If somebody doesn't know what is the ACL right now, what is the access map, after the 1 and 2 months, you will be expert in these things, right? Don't worry about that. I'm telling you. So let me see, do we have any things over there right now? Show access list. How anything I think so. So we don't. No, I don't have anything. That's perfect, right? So right now, all these users are part of the same VLAN. So let me go in the round one. What's IP address of this guy? So IP address is brief. Exclude unassign. Okay, that's perfect. Go with the router number 2 now. And here we have router 2. Enable, and 1 or 2. And R3 should be 103 now. Perfect, right? That's a 103, the R3. So we have IP addresses 101, 102, 103. Okay. And let's do the steps. So the first step is what? I first gonna make a route selection. So in ACL, in the access list, I'll tell you. Just a basic info I'm giving you right now. In access list, we have two types of ACL. One is called as a standard ACL. Second is called as extended ACL. Again, guys, don't worry about that. I'm just giving the overview right now. We are going to discuss about this thing after the spanning tree or DHCP, right? We are going to, the next topic will be this one only. So maybe first week of the February, we are going to discuss this thing again. So we all have almost 2 to 3 hours of the session on this topic only. Don't worry. So in the standard ACL, we have another with the extended ACL. Second thing, in ACL, we have a action we have, right? Either action could be the permit, or either it could be the deny. Permit means simply is what? We are matching it. It means that right now we are learning the VACL. According to the VACL, if I talk about matching means what? We are making a selection. Right? Deny means what? Simply not selection, not selected up. So if I'm saying the permit, it means that this should be go now. Right? So let's do this thing. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'll do in the notepad because so that I can share you this notepad after the classes, right? So the first thing that we have seen that's the color, the protected one. Let me write on the configuration. The switch one, we did this guy, increase 0/0 switch port. Protect. If you're not gonna make a protected, then what you can do that simply, you just need to go on the switch one and you say that increase each 0/0, no switch port, protected, that's all. Now, the next thing is the VACL we have. VACL has it's called a VLAN access list, right? So protected is a local to the switch. The VACL, the good thing is that it allow you to do the filtering within the VLAN, between the VLAN. So we don't have any issue with the local to the particular bind it between this particular switch. So now step number one, right? Create ACL to match the IP, or we can call it a selected, select the. So I see the access list, that's a first command. Okay, you need to define the which ACL you're going to use. So I'm going to say that 100. Access is 100. It just not tell you that you're using the extended ACL. 1 to 99, that's a standard ACL. Okay, I'm saying the ACL 100. I'm saying the, let me do this thing on a CLI. That would be great for you guys. Then I'll copy paste the command. Then I can show you something else as well. So at the access list, if you see, I have a 1 to 99. That's a standard base ACL. And the 100 to 199, that's an extended ACL. So I say the 100. And what I want to do that, because I want to match it, bomb it. I'm allowing this person. I'm allowing this person. What I'm allowing it. I say that, let me define the host keyword. Sorry, first define the which protocol that you're going to match it. So I'm just matching the any protocol. Any means what? IP protocol. Under the IP protocol, IP is a what? It's a suite of protocol. Under the IP, each protocol is present. Like a EIGRP you have, ICMP you have, OSPF you have, TCP, UDP. All this comes in the under the IP over there. So I'm just matching the IP. That's gonna match everything. Right now, what I'm gonna call it? Host means what? A user. Simple terminology. I'm just gonna make it. Don't gonna make a confuse right now, guys. Host 1.1.1. 2 host is what? 1.1.2. That's all. That's a step number one that I did. Host means what? The user. That's ACL 1. Step number 2. Right? Create access map. Right? What I can do that, I just want to go to the switch 1, VLAN, access map. Right? What is the name of this guy? I just define the name of this guy as a CCI. So then I said, do this user need to have a static IP address? To be frankly, I'm saying you right now, yes. The reason is that if you're going to use the DHCP over there, the DHCP IP address will be changes, right? Whenever your laptop will go off and on, right? Yeah, you need to. Otherwise, you have a user. I have another solution for this one as well as when I'm going to talk about the DHCP protocol, then I'll show you the one solution for this thing. But right now, yes, you are correct. So VLAN access map, hit enter. That's the name of this VLAN access map because you have a multiple access map on the switcher side. To identify each access map, you can define the name just for the identity, nothing else. And now I'll call this guy a match. What match address would be the ACL number 100 that I call it. And I see that access would be what? Drop. Access would be what? Drop. It means that, try to understand what I did over there till now. I see that VLAN access map, right? There's the name of this guy that defined the CCI. I said the match IP address will be what? It's 100. And I said the accent will be what? Drop. Guys, please pay attention. What I'm saying that, hey, listen, match this particular guy, call this particular guy under what? Under the access map CCI. And what is the 100 is saying that? 100 is saying that, hey, allow this person means what? Select this person that has a IP address is 101 to the 102. Whenever the any packet, guys, please pay attention to my word. Whenever the any packet comes from the 101 to 112, right? Drop it. Whenever the packet comes from the this guy to the switch will look for the VLAN access map. And based on the access map, he said, hey, this should be dropped. Remaining, what will be the remaining now? The remaining is what? 103. How the 103 now? Hey, allow the 103. I'll give the sequence number 20 right now because this is the 10. Okay, you can give the 10 over there. And then I said the action will be forward. That's all. Even if you don't give the action, by default, we will take the forward over there. So let me show you that. I'll say the action drop and exit VLAN access map CCI 20. And that's all. So if you see now, so VLAN access map right now. Hold on, let me disable the CDP right now from there. There are lots of answers are coming. So VLAN access map. You can see that I have a 10 over there and I have a 20. If you see, I haven't defined the forward action over there. So if you don't define it, by default, you will take the forward. The action I have defined the drop. To whom I should drop? IP address 100. Now who is 0 slash? Still 0 slash. Right, the action should be the drop over there. So then what is the meaning of permit keyword in the ACL rule? Permit means I'm matching it. Remember the selection, the Biru has went for the shopping mall to purchase the 10 t-shirts, right? So he was doing the selection. How they deal with the selection? Because he's a living thing. How does the switch gonna make a selection? Based on the ACL. In the ACL, what two statement we have? A permit and deny. Permit means what? Matching it. Deny means what? Not matching it. So I have to match it over here. Then I have to define the action over here. I give you the example of the route map, right? The selection of, I can change the default behavior. I'm changing over here. The last but not least, step number 3, apply it. Where I'm going to apply it, these all are the part of the same VLAN. I'm going to apply it in the VLAN now. I said that VLAN, what? It's a filter list, right? What is the name of the filter list? Access map name. What is the access map name we have? CCI. And then VLAN list will be what? In which VLAN list you're going to apply it? I'm going to apply it the VLAN number 1 because all the part of the VLAN number 1 right now. If you do so VLAN brief, they are part of the VLAN number 1. That's all. So now if you're going to send the traffic, have a look from the router 1 to the router 2. It's not going. But if you go with the router 3 right now, it should be go. That's how you are doing the backup. Backup simply is going to do that. It's a VLAN access list. Based on that, guys, please pay attention. What I did, the difference is that protected and backup. In a protected, if you guys remember that, we are matching the interface. In a protected, what we are doing that, we are matching the interface of the, we are dealing with the interface. In the backup, what we are doing that, we are doing based on the IP addresses. Questions?
Hello.
Yep.
Sir, suppose sir, I have sir two villains, sir, means two departments, sir, 10 and 20, sir. Hello.
Yeah, then you have to apply the 10
Is
and
there any
20. Then you need to call the villain filter list, villain number 1, and 10 over there you need to call it.
suppose sir, villain 10 is IT department, villain 20 is sir HR department. I do not want to communicate between these departments, sir.
By
So
default,
I
they
will
cannot.
apply, sir.
By default, they cannot communicate.
By default, they could not communicate.
Yeah, between the villain, no communication is happening, right? That's a default behavior.
Okay. Then, sir, if you want to block the villain, then ACL command we can apply, sir.
Yeah, if you want to, by default, it's denying. If you want to still want to deny, you can deny it with the VACL, with the help of VACL as well.
Okay. I will do the practical if, sir, issue, I will drop the message, sir.
Sorry?
When you give the recording, I will do the practical. If I face any issue, I will drop the message, sir, in the group.
Anytime, no issue. Okay.
I think I have doubts, sir. I could not find, sir, where I am. When I practice the message, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sort of, have you watched all the video that we have done till now, the VLAN?
Yes, sir.
Pakka?
Yes, sir.
So if you have seen that if you have a two different VLAN, VLAN number 10 and 20, there's no communication is happening, right?
Yes, sir.
And what was your question? You have one IT department, another was what? Management department, right? So still they cannot communicate by
HR
default.
department.
HR
Yes.
by default, anyways, no communication will happen. That's a
Yes, sir.
default
Yes, sir.
behavior. No communication is happening over there. But if the communication is happening with the help
Okay,
of
sir.
inter-VLAN routing, take example, IBR, right? If the communication is happening through the inter-VLAN routing IBR, in that way, right? If you want to block the traffic, you can block it with the help of backup as well. That's again advanced level of scenario, right? If you want, you can do that. It's not a feasible. It's not only local to the VLAN. It's between the VLAN as well as you can do that. Let me show you this thing as well. 1 minute.
Sorry, guys. This is another way to make a communication between the different VLANs. Usually, obviously, if they're different VLANs, we just create a trunk in between the links.
No, between the two VLANs, if you want to provide the connection, you need to do the IVR, inter-VLAN routing.
But obviously, a part of IVR, right?
Right, that's a part
Inter-VLAN
of
routing.
IVR.
Okay, but again, obviously, if you create a trunk, that the trunk link will
Trunk doesn't matter.
between-
Trunk doesn't matter. Trunk will not care. Trunk is only gonna pass the VLAN traffic. But if you have a two different VLAN broadcast domains, right,
Okay.
then you need to do the IVR over there.
Two broadcast means if means two different subnets.
Two different subnets. Simple language, yeah.
Fair enough. No problem. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I giving you one command like this. If I give means it will all port will be protected. Why I go to VLAN?
Yeah. It will all protect interface range. You need to go in the config terminal mode, Ismail. You are in.
Yes, config terminal. If I give, yeah, yes, config terminal mode. If I go to 1 to 32, it all protect. Switch port will be protect means it will 1 to another port. It will not communicate.
No communication will happen, man. They will block all the traffic. Now, I'll read this line, guys. So what the VACL is saying that VLAN access list maps are used to control the network traffic within the VLAN. You can apply the VLAN maps to all the packet that are bridged within the VLAN in the switch or switch stack, right? VACL are strictly for the security, packet filtering, and the redirecting traffic with a specific physical interface, right? At the same time, the good thing about this guy, I know these things are new for everybody right now. All the non-IP protocols, right, can be done, right, with the help of backup. That's a beauty part of the backup. What I'm saying, a non-IP protocol. Non-IP protocol means what? Your MAC addresses.
Okay, you mind to just share the link on the chat? So
Definitely,
just
I will share that. Don't worry about that. Though that's not a big deal. I'll share you these things as well.
thanks.
But these things are very important. All the non-IP protocol means what? It's not only the IP, you can also do the filtering based on the MAC addresses. Now, the next part that I have, apart from the vehicle, the protected, the next part we have a something called as a interesting one, but huge configuration map. It's known as a private VLAN. Anyone can tell me, have anyone has heard this word private VLAN? Anyone know about the private VLAN?
I heard, sir, but I don't know what is the private VLAN, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? No. Okay. VPN? No. Okay. So
Yeah, VPN I
basically,
know which.
what private? Let's take example. What is the size of VLAN you have, guys? The size of VLAN that you have, it's called as a 12-bit VLAN, right? 12-bit VLAN.
Yes, sir.
How many VLANs you can create? Up to 4094. In this again, I'm repeating this thing. In this, even the 4094, lots of VLAN are reserved. Lots of VLAN are reserved. If you see, even for this guy, switch one, if you put the command, so what do we call? VLAN brief. Reserved. Even I'm not remembering the exact range. I think so from 106 to I think so 1023 or something like that. Even that range is also reserved. Even some VLANs are reserved in the near around 3,900 something, some range of the VLAN also reserved from that particular, range. So not exactly you have a 409, but I'm telling you. It means that try to understand. Let's take up like in a hypothetical example. 4094, you have a VLAN. It means that you can create the 4094 broadcast domain simply. Okay, 4094, you can create the broadcast domain. Take example, you have a one switch. Understand this concept. This is the switch one, and this is the service provider. Service provider, this is right, and you are the cloud service provider. Okay, you are the cloud service provider. This cloud service provider, right, has a almost 3,000 customer. Take example. In that way, what happened, right? In that way, what happened? They can, right? They need they switch one, or we can say the service provider needs to create the 3,000 VLAN because they have a 3,000 customer, right? Because I don't want to share the communication between the customer to customer, right? I cannot deal with the security. So each customer can only communicate within the network, right? They can customer one cannot communicate with the customer number two because we are giving the services to the customer, right? If they want, then they can do that. That's not a big deal, but default should be what? This should not be communicated. So we need to create the 3,000 different VLANs. It means that 3,000 different broadcast domain we need to create it. We don't have any issue because we have still this range. I can create it. But let's take example. What happened? Now the switch one, right? And now service provider. Now they have a 5,000 plus customer. Do we have this range of VLAN?
Nope.
What should I do now? Can I increase the VLAN number? VLAN bit, 12 bit to the 16 bit?
Not possible, sir.
So to avoid this problem, right? To avoid this scalability, we have came with the concept is called as a private VLAN. In private VLAN, what basically you are doing that? I'll tell you. You have two types of sub VLAN. One is called as a primary VLAN, right? Let me. One we have a called as a primary VLAN, another is called as a secondary VLAN. Right? In secondary VLAN, you have a two more subtypes of VLAN. It's called as a community VLAN, right? And it's called as a isolated. Guys, please pay attention on the words, these words, isolated VLAN. So I can say that, guys, again, I'm repeating why I'm creating the private VLAN. The reason to create the private VLAN is that because I have a scalability problem. I don't have this range of VLAN in the 12-bit. And still I want to segregate the customer traffic. Still I'm going to segregate the customer traffic. Then what we have to do, I cannot increase the bits over there because still the bits are fixed 12-bit. So I can go with the private VLAN. In the private VLAN, we have a two VLANs, primary and secondary. Under the secondary, we have a two sub VLANs, community and the isolated. So I can call as a primary VLAN. I can take any number. I can tell this guy's 100. Secondary VLAN that I have, one of the community VLANs are 200. Another community VLAN isolated, we have a 300. Another community I can create. I do have ability. I can create the multiple community VLANs. But I can have only one isolated VLAN. It means that, understand this concept, you can have a 10 community VLAN. Understood this way? You can have a 10 community VLANs. I can create the 10 community VLANs. Different means it means that I can have a 200, 201, 202, guys, 203, 204, 205, 206, 207, 208, 209. I can create the 10 different 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can create the 10 different community VLAN. But I cannot go with the 10 different isolated VLAN. You only have a single isolated VLAN, which is the 300. Okay, now within the community, right? Or within the community, you can communicate it. Which means that whatever the users are part of the, same community VLAN, they can communicate. Same community means what? For example, under this 200 community VLAN, we have this two user, they can communicate to each other. I have another two users in the 201 community VLAN. They can still communicate to each other, but there should be no communication between the two different community. There should be no communication between the two different community. Now, next one, we have a isolated VLAN. Whatever the user, let me copy it. Whatever the users are part of the isolated VLAN, they cannot communicate to each other. Simple name, isolated, right? We have seen the COVID, right? Isolation, we put the person in the isolation, right? If you guys remember that, if there's someone has a COVID, isolated, no one can communicate with the isolated person. Community means what? A group of users. A community means what? A group of users. Isolated means a single users, a single person. But in this isolated VLAN, I can put the multiple users over there. It means that under this VLAN number 300, I can have a multiple users. But the problem is that it's not a problem, it's a beauty. This guy cannot communicate with this person, and this guy cannot communicate with this person. Got it? Same thing in the communities. What happened? 3 users, they can communicate with each other, but they cannot communicate with each other. That's something you're isolated. Simple, you can imagine that when you are going for the trip, right? When you're going for the trip, so there is a bus over there, right? Understand this concept. There's a bus, and this is the driver we have, right? That driving the vehicle, and we have a multiple users are sitting over here. Try to understand, right? Multiple users are sitting over there. They are the one community, another community, and now we have a isolated. So isolated means what? Different one. So we have a VLAN number 200, I can call it. VLAN number 201. I can create the multiple community VLAN. VLAN number 202. They all are the same community, VLAN number 300, but still they cannot communicate to each other. So user 1 can communicate with the user number 2, 3, and 4. But between this guy, there should be no communication. Same thing. User 1, 2, 3 can communicate with this guy. Same communication will happen within the same community. Between the community, no communication will happen. Isolated VLAN, single VLAN. All users are in the same isolated VLAN, but still they cannot communicate to each other. Good thing. They all can communicate with the word. Whatever the users are in the 200, they all can communicate with the driver. So whatever the users are sitting in the 200, 201, 202, they all communicate with the drivers. Same thing. Whatever the users in isolated, they can communicate with the driver. So sometimes some people prefer the solo trip, right? They are the solo person, right? The people are following the solo trip. They are the solo person. They cannot be a part of any community. But some people go for the trip in the group, right? In the communities. But eventually, they all can communicate with the driver. Same thing gonna happen over here. So whatever the users are present in the same community, they can communicate it. Whatever the users are present in the isolated, they cannot communicate it. But all they can communicate with the internet. Your driver is the internet. Isolated VLAN can communicate with the internet. Community VLAN can communicate with the internet.
Question.
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
So based on the example of ISP and the customers and the scalability issues, and just to kind of get an overview or understand the bigger picture here, the end customers. So let's say BSNL or Tata or whoever.
Go ahead.
So
go ahead. I'm listening.
yeah. So I'm wondering if the end user customer is let's say the home cable internet connection. Would they be like sort of isolated VLAN users?
Yeah,
or
I'm coming to the point, Viru. Just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
I understood your question.
Okay, no problem. All right, thank you.
So Nasir asked the question, same community VLANs can communicate to each other. Same community VLANs can communicate to each other. Same community VLANs. So if you see that in the VLAN number 200, we have, this is also community VLAN. VLAN 201, it's also community VLAN, and VLAN 20, it's also community VLAN. But in the VLAN number 200, we have 4 users. They can communicate to each other.
But community VLAN means the public VLANs, right?
Yeah, that's a customer VLAN. Yeah.
Okay, so they can communicate like
they
a
can
200
within the community.
I mean, 200 can communicate with 201 or not?
No, of course, that's what I'm saying. Within the community, we can communicate within the community. No communication happens between the 2 communities.
Okay. So then isolated
So I
VLANs,
can see that this is the customer number 1,
Uh-huh.
and this is the customer number 2,
Right.
and this is customer number 3.
Mhm.
Understood, right?
So,
I need a segregation between the customers.
okay. So basically, they can communicate with each other, but they cannot communicate with other customers.
No other.
It's simple that.
Yeah, that's some security, because I cannot deal with the security, right? Because this is the
Okay.
customer is Cisco, and this customer is
Mhm.
Juniper. I cannot deal with
Mhm.
this thing, right? I cannot provide the communication over there.
Okay. So if you talk about the private VLANs, which is we call it isolated VLANs.
And now
So-
I'm coming to the isolated. Now, understood. What I gave the example of the VLAN. The VLAN, we just have how many digit? 12 bit. how many VLANs we have? 409, up to 409 port. Again, not exact, up to. What was the requirement? 5K different broadcast domain.
Right.
Not the different broadcast domain, customer. The terminology,
Yeah.
customer, 5K per customer.
Mhm.
Not possible with this one, right? Now have a look. I just create the one isolated VLAN. And under this isolated VLAN, I can put the 5K customer.
Sorry, under this
Isolated
four,
VLAN.
under isolated, can you please, you mind repeat again for me?
Yeah. So see, 12 bit was there, 409 VLAN. How many requirement we have a customer? 5K customer.
5, exactly.
Now it's not possible within this range, right?
Yes, true.
With the help of private VLAN, what I did, I just introduced the two types of VLAN, primary and secondary, right? Primary
Okay.
is your papa, your daddy, right? Second is two childs we have, right?
Right.
So in a secondary, we have community and isolated. In a isolated, you can see that I just have one VLAN, right? That's a VLAN number 300, right?
Okay.
Under this 300 VLAN, how many users I can put? Unlimited, right? I can put the 5,000 users.
Oh, see. Okay.
Now understand the difference. Is previously it was not possible, even in this range of VLAN. But now it's possible with the help of single VLAN.
Basically, you are allowed to subdivide the single VLAN to the
Exactly.
further,
In a simple term, in a private VLAN, what we are doing that? We are creating small logical domain.
like unlimited VLANs, for example. I'm
Yes,
just saying.
yes.
But that has to be done under the single private VLAN.
Yeah, that's under the single private VLAN. That's you have to do the private VLAN. That's how. Biru, you
So
understood
like
this
private
concept, right?
subnetting IP. Yeah.
Yeah, no. If you want to do the subnetting, that's you can do that. If you don't do the subnetting, that's fine. Even if you do the subnetting, anyway, you cannot communicate. It's a different domain eventually, right? Let me
No,
tell
no,
you.
I'm saying concept-wise, it is
Yeah.
similar to like, public
Similar to
IP
that.
and
Yeah.
then
Similar to
Yeah,
that.
subdividing private IP.
concept is same, but obviously in subnetting, obviously then there will be different subnets. But here
Right.
is the different.
Right.
Yeah, but
Right.
general concept is same. It's just like a range to the further subdivision range, for example. Yeah, subdivision basically.
Understood?
Yeah.
Okay, let me go furthermore.
Isolate VLAN, there have no ranges like this. We can create to
In a community,
Unlimited
we have a ranges, man. We have a ranges. This ranges you can do that only. 409
We have only in community VLAN starts with 200 or
No. I just take the example of the 200. You can make a
Okay, that's why I was a little bit confused about it. Why 200? Because in community
I just
VLAN.
took the example of the 200. You
Okay,
can make anything.
okay, that's good.
Okay, let's go a little bit. Okay, so this example, remember that a traveler bus. So all this guy can communicate with the driver. Same thing, all the VLAN can communicate with the internet, all the users. Now, next part, what we have? We have a two types of port over there now. Basically, it's a three types. Okay, that I don't want to go the very higher level right now. Leave it that part. Mostly, right? Most of the person know only with the two ports. Most of the person, even if you go in the books, only the two ports. So one is called as a host port, as a name suggests that. It's only gonna connect the users, or we can call as the end users. And second is called as a promiscuous port. The promiscuous port, right? That's the internet one. So all the VLAN you have to map with the promiscuous port. All the VLAN that you have to map with the promiscuous port. That's this port has a connectivity with the internet. Maybe my spelling will be wrong. PRIMSCOUS. That has connectivity with the internet.
I think you were correct first. CUOUS.
Something, yeah? COUS, right? COUS, right? See, it's there. COUS.
No, I think first you were correct.
CUOUS.
CUOUS. Yeah.
Promiscuous port. That's going to be
It's okay.
So if you see, let me write on this part, guys, first of all, because it will help you in this way. So whatever the users are part of the same community VLAN, they can communicate each other. Whatever the users part of the device, they cannot communicate. That's fine. Perfect. So now let's me open my closing. One very important requirement of the private VLAN is what? Your VTP mode should be transparent. Obviously, right? Because in a transparent mode, what happened? I cannot share the VLAN information to the other switches. Take example, if the mode is not a transparent, assume that. I'm not going to draw the picture right now. Assume that if the mode is not a transparent, then what happened? If the mode will be server, if some guy is going to delete the any VLAN from anywhere, and that VLAN by mistakenly a part of the private VLAN, your all private VLAN will be gone. So that's very important things. You need to make a mode as a, sorry, you need to make a VTP mode as a transparent. That's a very important part. So what I can do that, let me on my devices. I need to fire up the device. Maybe private VLAN is saved configuration or not. I'm not pretty sure. Let me do that 1 minute. I'm gonna just I don't think so. It's just configuration saved. Let me check. Search one. So router 1, that's my internet, man. Router 2, router 3, router 4, router 5, router 7, router 6. Let me take this snap in my paint. Then I can draw the picture. Okay, that's my internet. Okay, that's IP address. I don't know what's IP address is configured. Let me check it. Enable so IP address is brief. Excluding the sign. It's a 100 man. I'll put the same IP. So 100. Okay. That should be the 1 or 2 across. This should be the 1 or 3. This will be the number 4. This will be the number 5. This will be the 1.6. This will be the 1.7. You tell me how many private community VLANs you want me to create. Then based on that, I can draw the total. Should I go with the 1 or 2? See, eventually you can only create the isolated only one isolated VLAN. So let's create the 2 community VLAN so that I can show you the difference is that. So community will be not possible, right? No communication will be possible between the 2 communities. So I'll make this 2 guys into the 1 communities. Right? I'll make this 2 guys into 1 communities. And color and let's go with the green. I'll make this guy isolated. So in isolated, no communication will happen. So it's like a small sub domain will be there. All done. So of course, this port will be the promiscuous port because this is going to connect with the internet. And these are my host port. So all these are the traveler, right? All these are the traveler and he's my driver. That's great, right? So what I can do that, I'm gonna keep this guy name as a, so it's a community, right? So 200 is a community, 300 also community, 300 is isolated. Isolate. and 200 is community. And 300 is also community. 400 is also community. Of course, the 100 is my primary VLAN. Secondary VLANs, what we have? Let me change this guy like this. Primary 100. Secondary we have. In the secondary, we have a community. It's 200. Another community we have 300. Sorry, 400. Isolated, we have 300. Okay, that's perfect. The BTP mode should be transparent. So I'll show you the configuration on the CLI first, and then I can put the same configuration on my notepad. Host name switch 1, do show BTP status. I think so. I already have a configuration. So I already have it. Maybe in the other class I showed that. Let me find it. Hold on. I just need to wipe this configuration. Okay. Do you have a PDF notes for this lecture? For reading purpose, PDF notes in the sense of what, Nasir, you're talking about the paint file that I have? Or like
No, not the paint file, exact. I mean, just basically.
no, I have a books, or it's a Cisco Press book. I can share with you that I
No,
already
Cisco
uploaded.
practice is different. I mean, whatever you teach. So generally, I mean, we create a notes.
I don't have a PDF for those things, but yeah, I'm working on right now. Let me pause the recording for this one. I don't want to save this.
Yes,
Don't worry about that.
yes.
So my switch is now switch 1. No, yes. Server. Oh. Then what I have to do that? Step number 1. Okay. Step 1. Change the BTP mode. Step number 2. Create primary and secondary VLAN. Secondary means what? Community and isolated. What I can do that. Step number 2. VLAN 100. That's I'm considering because according to the let's go through the paint. I'm considering the VLAN 100 is a private VLAN. So private VLAN, right? Private VLAN. So under the VLAN 100, that's a normal VLAN. I'm changing this behavior, guys. This is the normal VLAN. I'm changing this behavior. What I'm changing now, I'm saying that private VLAN primary. Then go exit VLAN number 200. What? Normal VLAN, changing the behavior of this guy, private VLAN. What? Community, as per the diagram. Exit VLAN number Okay, so VLAN number 300, private VLAN, isolated. Exit. Guys, see the diagram in the paint right now. VLAN number 400, private VLAN, and I see the community VLAN. That's all done. That's a step number 1. Sorry, step number 2. VLAN number 100, private VLAN, branding. VLAN number 200, you need to put the exit keyword always. 200. Exit. 300, isolated. 400. 20. Now, what I told you that your primary VLAN, right? That's your daddy, right? Your father, right? And your secondary VLAN are the son. So you need to map that VLAN. What you have to do now, you need to provide the mapping. You need to tell, hey, this is your daddy, that's 100, and these are my sons, right? That's 200, 300, and the 400. These are some. So these sons has no idea, right? So need to tell the sons, hey, your daddy is a VLAN number 100, your dad is a VLAN number 100, and your dad is a VLAN number 100. So you need to provide the mapping. That's a step number 3. Provide the mapping of all secondary VLAN to the primary. What you have to do that? You need to associate, right? Simple terminology is what? Association. Associated. So you need to go on the VLAN number 100. That's my primary VLAN. Let me show you over here. VLAN number 100, private VLAN. Private VLAN. What we have to do, we need to make an association. So what keyword I have to use? Association. With the question mark. We have seen this part. We have seen this part. We have seen this part. Now, what is the configure association between the private VLANs? So I need to make association with what? Add list. If you're not remove it, you can remove it after the further. And if you're not just want to add it, the one VLAN, you can add it. So I need to add the VLAN number 200. Then I think so you need to use the comma 300, 400. Done. That's we are done now. Next part is what? Let me put this command line. Step number 5. Now we are almost done. I need to make associate port now. Configuration the port. So the mapping has done. So I have already told this guy. So these are the sons, and he's my father. So step number 5. Configure the ports type. What we have to do that? We just need to go the interface 0/1 to the 0/2. If you see that, right? Range, I can use it. Let me do it over here. Interface range is 0/1. This to IP, sorry, this to particular interface. Then I present the switch port. What? Mode access with the question mark. We have already seen that. We have already seen that dynamic one. We have already seen this one. This part comes in the picture when you're gonna do the .1Q tunnel, like a layer 2 tunneling, not a part of NP. So now you have to do that private VLAN. That's not a normal port. That's a private VLAN. What port in the private VLAN? We have two types of port in the private VLAN. It's a host. Again, many question is only going to talk about the two ports, two types, host or promiscuous. This trunk port, even in the book, it's not given. It's CLI is given. Let me tell you what is the use of this port. This trunk port only comes in the picture when you have a another switch, and that another switch too is also have a some private VLAN. Then this port comes away. Don't make a lots of confusion right now. Go with the simple. Okay. Yeah, in future, like once you become an expert in this one, and if you not try to implement these things, right, then you have to use the trunk on this particular interface. So if somebody will ask you the how many ports type they have in the interview, just say that host and promises. If they are looking for further, then you can introduce the trunk over there as well. But if you're introducing the trunk, they will ask you the more question like, now what is the use of trunk port? So just say that if you have another private VLAN on the another switches, and if you want to provide the communications over there, then you can use it the trunk over there. So host now. These two ports are now in the private VLAN host port. Now, what I told you that, is this enough? Not enough. The reason is that these users, now they can communicate to each other. But how about the internet communication? To provide the internet communication, right, we need to map this 200 to the 100 switch port. Put the question mark, private VLAN, host association, right? What now? Primary is 100, second is 200. That's done. Do show run interface. Each 0/1, I can just copy this information. Same behavior will be over on the ETH1/0 to ETH1/1. ETH1/1, sorry, 1/0 to 1. Same configuration. Only we need to change the what? This will be 300. Eventually, these are the host, right? Same will be interface ETH1/2 to 3, right? These are the another two ports we have in the community. So the VLAN they have over here is a 400. So let's put this configuration in the switch. All done. Anything else is pending? We have done with the host port, right? Another ports we have is called the promise case, right? Let's do the configuration of the promise case. Otherwise, the internet will be no communication will happen with all those guys. So what I can do, the interface 0/interface E0/0, right? Switch port private VLAN, not switch port private VLAN, switch port mode, private VLAN, what promise case? PROMP promise case, MIC, right? And then switch port private VLAN, what mapping? What mapping? First is what? Primary. Another primary we need to call the 100. What are the secondary VLANs we have? 200, 300, and 400. That's done. Do show run interface 0/0. Step number 6. Configure promise case port. And I'm done, man. If you go and verify something, so private VLAN, so VLAN, private VLAN, all the ports we have. So think over there, see over there in the 200 community. So these are my primary. Secondary, we have a community. In the community, if you see each 0/1 and 0/2 at the same time, each 0/0 because it's a promise case port. Eventually, this guy has to communicate with the internet. Same thing. Same thing. This guy. ETH1/0, ETH1/1, this person. eth1/2, eth1/3, this person. But everyone has an eth0/0. So VLAN, private VLAN type, we have these types. And now if you see the communications right now, if you go to the router 1, not router 1, router 2 right now, ping what? Working fine, right? Within the same community.
Yes.
How about the between the different community? 6. Here to here, different community.
Yeah. One work.
How about the isolated now? 1 or 4. Not working, right?
Yeah, because a different community.
Same thing, let's go with the router 4 right now. Because same thing will happen with the 3 as well. Let's go with the router 4 now. In the isolated. Ping 1 out of 5, right? Same VLAN, but no communication. Same VLAN, same subnet. Can you see that? Same VLAN,
Yeah.
same subnet, no communication. Subdomain we have created.
Okay.
That's a beauty part of the private VLAN. So can
Why
you
the
imagine that in the 300 VLAN, right? VLAN number 300. I can, if I'm gonna put the 1000 user, right? They all will be segregated, right? Eventually, but within the same VLAN, within the same subnet. Scalability. I don't need a previously without understood this concept without private VLAN. What happened? Without private VLAN, if you have a 1000 customer and you want to segregate the 1000 customer, you need to get the 1000 VLAN with private VLAN.
and those 1,000 customers that you will be able to communicate with each other, right?
Sorry, can you repeat that one?
And after the subdivision in a private VLAN, those let's say 1,000 customers, they
Cannot
will be
communicate.
able to.
Yeah, they
They
won't.
can.
They cannot.
They cannot. They cannot either.
They cannot. Okay. It's not doing the communication. R4 hours, R5 is not communicating right now.
No, that's okay. But if you just do subdivision of the further, let's say R4 VLAN 1.4, okay? If you
Mhm.
further subdivide into the 1,000, those 1,000 are will they be able to ping each other or not?
What do you mean by 1000? What do you mean?
I think I'm sorry to interrupt. I think what Nasir is trying to point out, I believe, is that when you say those 1,000 VLAN, he's not talking about the isolated ones.
You're not talking about the isolated ones, Nadir?
Yeah.
Correct,
Oh,
Nasir?
yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, in the 1000, see, in the 1000, without VLAN, if you see over there, without private VLAN, if you have 1000 customer, you have the 1000 VLAN, right? Understand this concept first of all. With private VLAN, what happened? You have 1000 customer. I just need a one VLAN.
Yeah.
It is 300 right now. Now, what is the goal of VLAN? The goal of
Segregation.
VLAN is what? To segregate the traffic, right?
Correct.
To subdivide the broadcast domain, divide the broadcast domain. So we are doing
Yes.
that out there in the 1000. But in this 300 VLANs, if you see the, take example, we have VLAN number 300 right now, and we have ports 0/0, 0/1, 0/2, and 0/3. It means that we have 4 users, right?
Yeah.
And this VLAN 300 is what? Right now, understood this concept. This is the without private VLAN.
Yeah.
Okay, without private VLAN. In the without private VLAN, what happened? They can communicate to each other, right?
Yes, of course they are.
Yeah,
They
of course,
can.
right? Because they are the part of the same VLAN right now, right?
Yeah.
Now, what happened if I say the with private VLAN?
They won't.
They won't. Now you understood?
No, I understood that this concept already. What I was trying to say, as the video explained you correctly on behalf of me. So if you subdivide, for instance, from
You want to subdivide this 300 instance?
Yes,
How you
300
gonna
to
subdivide
1K.
it?
300 to 1K. Those 1K, will they be able to communicate each other or not? That was my
No, they
question.
cannot. That's the meaning of isolated.
So basically, the whole chain cannot communicate with each other.
No, they cannot.
Okay, no problem. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's got it. Thank you. And last question I was going to ask you, I missed that. If you did the configuration with the community, so 100, 200, 300, there was a sentence of like in the configuration mapping and promiscuous.
Hmm.
What is that? You did the mapping, isn't it?
So
Of these
if I'm not
100.
gonna if I'm not gonna map with the promiscuous port, what happened? All this guy cannot communicate with the internet. The
So
driver,
you need to do the mapping for the communication with each other.
yeah, the driver, remember that I gave you the one example of driver and bus. All the passenger can communicate with the driver. So these are what? These are my passenger, right? They need to communicate with the driver. So that's my promiscuous port. If I'm not gonna mapping, they cannot communicate with the internet.
So what is actually the meaning of promiscuous?
The
In
meaning
general,
of promiscuous port that should be connected with the internet, the gateway router.
gateway router.
Yeah.
I see. That's what. Good.
Now, if you go on the router, where is that? Router 4. So you can see that router 4 is not able to communicate with router 5 right now. In the same VLAN, same subnet, but not possible. How about the router 6 now? If you go to the router 6, on a router 6, if you're gonna ping the router 7, same community VLAN, right? But it's gonna work now. How about the internet, man? If I'm gonna ping from router 4, if you see, router 4 was not able to communicate with router 5. Same community VLAN, but I can send the traffic to whom? Internet. So if I'm gonna generate the packet from the internet, let's do the broadcasting. Let's do the broadcasting as the 1.255.255.255. That's a global broadcast address for the 1.0.0.0/8. I should get the reply from everybody. So 2 questions. I have how many broadcast domain in the isolated VLAN? What do you mean a broadcast domain? I just have a single broadcast domain over there. Sub broadcast domain, you can call this word. Still a single broadcast domain. You can call it a sub. How many sub broadcast domain you have based on the requirement?
So on that note, I have one question.
If you have
So in the isolated,
one minute, I have another question in the smile.
Sure.
If I have a 60,000 users, so I can create a private network in 3,000. If you have a 60,000 IP addresses, you can do that. Right, but check the switches, what we call capability as well. Some switches doesn't have a capability for that one. Some switches we have, so you need to go with the what we call data set. But yes, we can do that. Yes, Biru.
so yeah, my question was on the same lines. So is there like a practical limit in terms of scalability as to how many
That's you need to check the
users we
data
can
set.
have in data set? Okay.
Yeah, that's you need to
Okay.
check the data set. Because those things are not even in the given so no one can put in the books, right? Everything. So you need to go with the data set because each devices has a different behavior.
Okay, got it.
Like
And is this one last question? Sorry.
Yeah.
So is this feature of a private VLAN and promiscuous port and the port mapping, is that like again available across the board on all switches, or is that limited to some higher end switches
limitation to the
only?
higher end switches.
Okay.
Not the
And
basic one. Even the VACL, if you're doing that, even that's VACL is on a higher end switches, not the lower end switches.
got it. Thank you.
So now you can see that on the internet, if I send the broadcast traffic, I can get the reply from 141716121314, eventually from everybody. So it means that I can get if I'm gonna ping from router 2 to the 1.100, I can get the reply. From here, I can get the reply. Here, I can get the reply. Here, I can get the reply. Here as well. That's how your private VLAN is gonna work, guys. So VACL has done, protected has done, private VLAN has done. Questions now we have. So 3 security part, we have covered it.
Right. I think that's enough for today.
That's enough. That's enough. I was planning to cover the
Yes, sir.
IVR and one more topic I have in my mind. That's called
No.
hopping. So we'll cover it tomorrow. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, because
Yes,
the thing is then it is get a little bit difficult to understand revise after that.
Right. I understood. Not a big deal.
Thank you.
Let's see some CCTV.
Sir, this paint file uploaded in the Google Drive, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna upload it right now.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so I'll catch you tomorrow, guys, with some another concept of the VLAN. Okay, I'll figure out tomorrow. I'll finish the VLAN topics, and then we'll jump to the spanning tree from the Thursday, right?
Sure. So can you do this one in packet tracer, right? Can you do this lab?
You cannot do that. I don't think I haven't tried, but I don't think so. The private is working on the packet.
No, I think because this particular topic that we discussed today was above the CCNA level, and I don't think packet tracer supports commands
Yeah.
like above CCNA level. So
yeah, above CCNA level is not supporting over there. So even
In
the
that
this is just my understanding.
yeah, even the NP labels, some topics are beyond the NP labels was that, right? And so maybe the EVNG. So again, some of the iOS of the EVNG doesn't support the even the configuration will support, output you will not get that. Okay, so make sure that if you're not getting the output and your configuration is correct, it means that your iOS doesn't support the VLAN or
so
that.
it will work on GNS3, right?
Again, it's depend on the iOS, right? The iOS that I have, if you see in my web IO, let me pause the recording. I don't want to make a higher, like increase the size of recording.